So yesterday, DoorDash did a whole bunch of announcements for the consumer app and for the driver app. And one of the biggest announcements a part of this was that they have now released these delivery robots that can do a whole lot. This thing even talks. So of course we've seen delivery robots that can go on sidewalks and they can deliver like a small amount of items. However, this DOT robot is pretty large. I'm gonna go ahead and put up a picture, but this thing can hold up to 30 pounds of items, 6 large pizzas, or pretty much any size order that fits in those categories. This thing also can go 20 miles an hour, and it is safe to actually be on the road, so it's not just on the sidewalks, which does mean that these deliveries are not just going to be, in a small downtown area, kind of replacing bike orders. These things can actually go on the road with cars. Also, in their announcement, they had a quick picture of this garage filled with these things. So there is not just, one delivery robot that they're testing out. Although there is a test market, they have kind of supplied a whole army of them at the moment. Now, of course, the way that they're announcing this is so that the customers have a better experience. Now, one of the things they mentioned on how it's going to be determined if it is a robot delivery, a bike delivery, a drone delivery, or a human delivering it in a car is going to be some sort of algorithm based on experience, size of the order, distance of the order, the terrain, things like that. And I am not in the test market, so when I share the location with you in just a moment, I am curious if any of you are in that location, just so we can get an idea if this is really affecting Dashers, or even as a customer if you have used it. So right now the test market is in Phoenix, Arizona, and they did just launch yesterday, so they are literally on the roads as we speak. One of the things about these that makes it more favorable possibly over drivers is the fact that these things just need a quick battery change and they can go all day. Now, of course, there is going to be electricity costs and maintenance costs. People are going to have to, tend to these things, change out the batteries, charge the batteries. There is going to be some upkeep cost for these robots. And I can see how for DoorDash, this could eliminate a few problems, such as Dashers stealing the orders because the robot could go haywire and just steal the order for itself, but I don't know what it's gonna do, with some McDonald's. So it definitely would eliminate the problem of Dashers stealing orders. It would also eliminate Dashers dropping orders because there's a wait time, because the robot does not care if it has to wait. And of course that means it's going to save DoorDash money, and it's also probably going to save them some ratings and maybe having to give a refund or something. So it definitely eliminates that for them. Of course, they did not share with us the cost of actually running one of these things, but if you imagine that the base pay is $2 per order, if they send 10 robots out to go pick up 10 orders, I don't know the cost difference between paying Dashers $20 or maintaining 10 robots for those 10 orders. I don't expect to see any DOT robots going up the Grand Canyon to go deliver someone's order. Some of these roads have some big potholes. I don't know if it can handle that. Now, even though that's about all we know right now about these robots, let's go ahead and talk about what this could potentially mean for DoorDash drivers, especially in the test market that these robots are now in. So like I said, I did see in the introduction video, there kind of was a full garage of maybe 10 to 20 robots just in frame. I don't believe they shared what hours of the day these robots are actually out and functioning. So if they're out functioning 24/7, you do have to imagine that probably 10 to 20 robots are essentially replacing Dasher opportunities for whatever time these robots are running. Phoenix, Arizona is pretty large though. I don't know if they have more than one garage of these robots, but I do think that even though these robots are going to be added to the road with Dashers, my hopes for them are that they're going to probably take those really bad paying orders that no one else is taking. Part of that is because DoorDash wants to keep their ratings up and their merchants happy as well. They don't want to have orders just sitting there and the order gets wasted, or DoorDash has to keep sending it to people and increasing the pay. So my hope is that these orders will be taken by the robots and that's what they'll assign to them. Of course, these robots can only go up to 20 miles an hour as well, so these robots are not going to be going on highways. Yes, it seems a little intimidating that there's a bunch of robots now delivering orders to people, but at the same time, these robots cannot handle highways. I don't know how hot or cold of temperatures they can handle, but I do assume that Phoenix, Arizona at this time of year is probably an okay spot to test out. Something else to know is this thing can't climb stairs, so for all those people who live in apartments, of course the robot can demand them to come down to the door, but as a lot of DoorDash drivers know, people want it brought up to their actual door. So I don't know how that'll be handled, but overall there are just some things that a human in a car can do that this robot is never probably going to be able to do. So I wouldn't be too scared of it. These robots are not going to be taking large grocery orders. I'm also not sure if it can take multiple orders at the same time. So you do have to imagine that even though, yes, there could be times of the day that it may affect the orders, like slow times during the day, for example, in between lunch and dinner, say there's just some short delivery distance orders, those might be taken by the robots. But as of right now, I don't think it's going to severely impact Dashers. Of course, there could be some missed opportunities for Dashers that the robots are going to take. But like I said, it's only in one test market right now. Phoenix, Arizona is pretty large, and these things cannot handle everything that a car can handle when it comes to making deliveries. So for anyone who is in the Phoenix, Arizona area, I'm super curious how you think this is going to affect you, if you've already started noticing changes over the last 2 days, or if anything new is on your app, or even as a customer. If you have had one of these robots delivered to you, what was the experience like? Did you have to wait longer? Did they forget any of the items? Simple things like that. I'm just super curious. And lastly, what are your thoughts on how this could affect Dashers in the Phoenix, Arizona area, or just in general if this thing expands? Other than that, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.